Welcome to the Realtor Diaries podcast. Today, we're talking about other people's poop.
Wait, say what?
I'm Elijah McGowan with the Jacobi team at Century 21 Select Real Estate, and with me,
Kim Jacobi with the Jacobi team, Century 21 Select Real Estate.
yes, and it may be jarring to hear what we're talking about. And so,
You did say poop.
it's yes.
Other people's poop.
And that title comes from one of my clients. Because so the first ever sewer camera scope that I did, which is a really cool inspection where they literally take it looks like a hose and it just has a camera on the end and they stick it all the way down your sewer pipe until it reaches the city main line.
Yeah.
Or usually that far.
Yeah.
Differing lengths and methods. And they tell you all about what's happening in the sewer line.
Yeah.
And I asked my client if he wanted to show up and watch the sewer camera scope because I wanted to I had never seen it before.
Yeah, it's very informative.
Specifically when I said, okay, do you want a copy of the recording on a flash drive for like $20, super cheap? He said, no, I don't want to see other people's poop. And then I said, well, I think I kind of do. So I'm going to go. And I went and saw it. It wasn't absolutely disgusting.
You don't actually see poop.
No,
You don't.
That's what gets washed away into the sewers.
Sometimes you see toilet paper and bugs.
Oh, true.
Bugs.
But
Bugs.
pretty clean pipe
I know,
that I
right?
saw this time. And it was really interesting. They showed me where like the cleanouts were, which I didn't even know what those were when I was going into it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was kind of cool. Honestly, I thought it would be. You said it would be, and it was.
Well, sewer camera scopes, I guess most of the time when you ask your buyer if they want one, they have this look on their face like, why would I want that?
Like, why would I want to see?
Yeah.
Almost.
Well, the reason is because if there's anything wrong with that pipe that leads from the house to the main in the street, then it's your responsibility as the homeowner to get that fixed. And a lot of times that pipe runs under the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
It sometimes there's no way to access the pipe except through the toilet. And so
Really?
yeah, sometimes people don't have cleanouts. And so they have to pull a toilet off and try to go through the pipes that way.
Have you had someone do that?
Yeah.
Did you see it happen? Like, were you there for that inspection?
Yeah, they just take the toilet off and there's the hole in the ground.
If you can't tell, I find this very fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Like of course you could do it from inside the house.
Right.
It's a sewer drain.
Right.
It just goes outside.
So here I have two reasons why you want to get a sewer camera scope. So one, I had this client, he was buying, it was an older home, but the lady who was selling the home, she had just had the pipe from her house to the sewer line redone.
Oh.
She within the last 2 years. So it was a brand new modern pipe. And so when I was explaining the different types of inspections to my client, I was like, you could get a sewer camera scope, but it's only 2 years old. So I don't know if you want to spend the money, but it's up to you. And he was like, I'm getting them. I'm getting all of them.
Okay, yeah.
And thank God he did.
Oh.
So they go, first of all, they go and I'm standing there next to the guy and he goes down literally like one alligator, two alligator. And he's like, the people who installed the pipe never finished the job.
Wait, what do you mean?
So there was pipe laying in the ground and the dirt had been covered back up. But they were 2 feet shy of the house. They had never connected it to the house.
What? Wait, okay. So had there been a sewer line there before? So they dug up the old one, laid the new one, and never connected it.
Probably what happened was, oh, shoot, we need a piece, like a connector, or they probably didn't have all the supplies.
They're like finishing.
Right? And so then they were going to go back and do it again, and miscommunication, and a different person came out and thought it was done and covered it up, or I don't know. That's all.
Just something went wrong.
Yeah, miscommunication.
Oh my God.
Because no worker in their right mind would finish a job when it wasn't done.
Absolutely. But
so there had to have been something. So luckily,
that's crazy. Brand new.
Yeah.
Like, well, relatively.
And I think it was actually within a year.
Yeah, so brand new, actually.
So the seller was able to call, and remember, I was representing the buyer.
Yeah.
So the seller was able to call the company that installed it, and she was like, get back here and fix it. And so they did.
Like, I kind of have chills because I might have also recommended, like, hey, like, if you need to save $200, well,
$350.
If you save $400,
I know.
This is a brand new sewer system.
Uh-huh.
I mean, and good on your buyer.
I know. Thank God he said yes.
Yes. And it's hammered into us to, like, inspect, yep. Always recommend inspect. But, I mean, shoot, just another reason.
Yeah.
Get everything inspected.
Well,
and you said you had 2 reasons.
Yeah. So, and actually Emmett has an identical story.
Okay.
So, sewer camera scope found, so, you know, when they lay the pipe initially, I don't know if they put rock down or whatever, but it's got to lay so that gravity pulls the stuff down, right? But sometimes the ground will settle in a part and the pipe is flexible and it'll sink like this.
Which is better than it, like, breaking.
Yeah, and so it creates like a belly.
Yeah, okay.
And so what can happen is things that get flushed down the toilet, like toilet paper or toys or whatever people flush down their toilets, diapers, can get stuck in that belly and build up and eventually create a dam. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And so in my situation and in Emmett's, both of the times, the portion of the line that had the belly was under the driveway. And so we're talking having a jackhammer up the driveway just to dig it up and fix like a 3-foot long belly.
That's why you mentioned that earlier. Like, it can run under your driveway, and if it's messed up under there, you have to tear up the driveway.
So in my instance, in my escrow, we got a quote from a guy who owns a backhoe business, and he gave us a quote for how much it would cost to break up the driveway, fix the pipe, and then replace the driveway. And the seller ended up splitting that cost with us. And so, and the buyer ended up having his dad do it because his dad owned a backhoe.
Okay, gotcha.
But in Emmett's case, his buyers just said, oh, well, we'll just have a plumber come out and they can do, because the belly on this one was close to the clean out.
Okay.
It was fairly early in the pipe. So the guy said, oh, well, you can just blast it with water. What is that called? Blasting things with water. There's a term.
Hydroblast. I don't know.
Yeah, anyway.
Almost pressure washing?
Pressure washing, yeah.
Oh, really?
Right? Not pressure wash, but like that speed of water, right?
Okay, yeah.
And I guess you can push the things out of the belly that way.
That makes sense. As long as it's not like fully jammed.
Yeah. So, in order for that to be successful, you have to do it every year.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and the buyer's like, okay, we'll do that. So they didn't even want to jackhammer up the driveway, and they just are going to blast their pipe every year.
Nice that there's more than one option.
Yeah.
And a good contract for a plumber.
I know, right? Yeah, so it's funny, though, because besides the sewer camera scope, in an escrow, usually there's not like a plumbing inspection.
Not normally, no. I haven't ran into it yet.
I have, and usually, the whole house inspector will look under sinks and bathrooms and kitchen.
Absolutely. Turn the faucets on.
Yeah. And then the pest inspector, if there's a space big enough under the house, they'll actually crawl under the house and be able to look at all the pipes that are there. And so if there's a leak, that can sometimes trigger maybe a further plumbing inspection.
Yeah, someone more specialized.
Right. But really all they're going to come out and tell you is these pipes are made of steel or whatever thing, ABS or...
I have no clue.
It's 3 types of metal.
Gotcha.
Copper? Steel,
I think copper is one.
Galvanized steel, that's the same thing. And then nowadays it's like ABS.
Oh, that's what it's called?
Plastic.
Oh, okay.
Some kind of plastic.
That's interesting that you mentioned leaks.
Yeah.
There was a story from our office, not my story, where he actually is in the cubicle right next to me. If he watches this, he'll know who he is. But he's been working with these clients for a long time, and they're like roughly around $1 million range.
Mm-hmm.
And they found a house that they wanted that was like underpriced to sell because they didn't sell at the price they wanted, and they were done with the house. Like they had moved into an RV in the driveway. Like they were ready to sell.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's a motivated seller.
I know. And so our guys got in there. They just put in a huge offer with a limited like time frame so that they could lock it in.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was happy with it. It was great. And so
they get into escrow.
They get into escrow and start ordering inspections, and the family's like up in there cleaning stuff, moving stuff out of the way for inspections.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think they leave for some reason, like some sort of small vacation, maybe a weekend trip. And they come back to do like a final like cleaning, like to finish cleaning for the inspections. And somehow before they left, they knocked a pipe. Something happened, and water had been not just dripping, but like almost a steady, like small stream in the upstairs bathroom.
Oh no.
And obviously it was a disaster.
So it was completely flooded.
This was
upstairs.
Upstairs, the bathroom was flooded. It wasn't the worst thing in the world though, because it just seeped straight down, no drips from the ceiling yet.
Oh,
but you walk into the kitchen and there's just a giant dark circle, and it's like starting to sag.
Oh no!
Terrifying.
That is so
And of course,
bad.
the next day, the whole house is coming through.
Right.
And so
the inspector comes in. He's got you got a little problem here.
And so the sellers did a great thing. They like disclosed immediately.
Yeah.
And like they were solving it. And luckily the buyers weren't like shocked or scared. They just they kind of took it as it came.
Yeah.
And they wanted the plumbing inspected definitely after that.
Yeah.
But they were absolutely willing to like let them fix it, get it inspected. And it turned out fine, but it was so scary. I remember being in the cubicle next to him, and he's like on the phone. He's like, "We're gonna figure it out. It seems like everything's fine so far. If you guys want to back out, that's okay.
Yeah.
But if you want to stick with his house, we'll get the plumbing inspected, and we'll ask them to fix what was wrong.
New sheetrock, new
Mm-hmm.
floor joists.
Yes,
new
everything in that spot.
New baseboards, new drywall. That's a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And luckily, it was a fairly isolated incident.
Yeah.
Like it didn't have time to spread, no time for like pests to move in or mold to happen. And I guess it was good for these sellers that A, they had pretty good buyers on the other side, and B, that it was just an issue right during that escrow.
And I wonder if they were able to use their home insurance to pay for it.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I didn't get that fact, but that would be even better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
As a home seller, if something like that goes wrong, check with your home insurance.
Yeah,
Maybe
see if they cover it.
Yeah.
And if they do, I mean, that's awesome. That's the best thing you could ask for. Well, I mean, I guess the best thing you could ask for is not to happen. Is none of this situation to go wrong.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to hear from our guest today because he is a plumber.
Yeah, absolutely.
Long-time plumber,
absolutely.
And he has got some crazy, wild stories of things that they have found in pipes in people's houses.
I'm ready to hear it.
People flush down their toilet. Oh my gosh. And he's also going to help educate us a little bit about the different pipes, because clearly we don't know. We're like steel, galvanized steel, ABS, or is that ASB? I don't know. So stay tuned.
We'd like to introduce our special guest today, Nate with Thrifty Rooter. Plumbing is his passion and his hobby. He runs the family business, and you know what? We're really glad to have you here.
Yes, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. We hear that you were doing a job up in Paradise that was supposed to only take a couple minutes. Ended up taking 3 hours because there were bolts in the pipes.
Yeah, steel bolts. I don't know. I think it was maybe a disgruntled tenant that started flushing them down.
Oh
Some
my
people
gosh.
do that.
Wait, so they called you like when it became a problem? Like it was clogging, like catching stuff?
It was a bathroom sink, and sometimes it'll normally be hair, but this time it was steel bolts. So, yeah.
Okay.
Some people don't like paying the rent, and they'll leave and they'll pour concrete down the drains or something like that.
I've heard about stories like that.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
And just for like full disclosure, this is the second time we're recording.
Yes.
I'm glad I caught that mistake early.
He's a good sport.
But you told us a story that I would love if you told again.
Oh, absolutely.
About other people's poop.
Yes.
It was a horror story. So, are you ready to hear it?
I'm ready to hear it.
Yeah. Okay. Ready to, maybe we'll pick up details on where you missed the first time.
I know.
So I used to work weekend service calls late at night. And this one time, I got called out late on a Saturday night. It was raining, and it was an apartment complex that I got called out to for an emergency.
Yeah.
I show up to the downstairs door, and a college girl opens the door, and I notice that it's raining on the inside as well as the outside.
Like, there's no change here.
Yeah. She lets me come in, and she's not wearing any shoes, but I noticed that the water that's raining down is not clear. It's brown.
Oh, gosh. It doesn't get better.
Disgusting.
It doesn't get better the second time.
And so in her bare feet, she's walking around this floor. Squish, squish,
like carpet?
Some carpet, some
like,
linoleum. It was all over the house. Some puddles. And her way of pointing to where the puddles, where it's coming down, was to use her toes and swirl around in the puddle, say, "This has been happening for some time."
So are you in the house?
I'm inside,
like you're
getting
staying away.
Oh, you're like dodging
the brown water droplets.
And she's like splashing on herself.
Bird bathing. Yeah.
She's the inside rain fairy.
She didn't seem to care. I tried to stop her from
touching it. With her foot.
Put some shoes on, please.
An actual health hazard.
Yeah, and also it's upstairs, so it's not hers. It's everyone else's from upstairs.
Right.
And I don't know.
Oh man, that makes my stomach turn.
Yeah, that's kind of terrifying.
She was really chill. That's all I can say about
very
that.
calm and collected.
So I took care of the actual plumbing problem. I made the problem go away, but there was still, like you were mentioning, the insulation is like a sponge.
Yeah.
And so when I was done, it was still dripping throughout the apartment. And
but for a long time after you left. Well, I mean, hopefully not. But
hopefully not. Hopefully she put an umbrella out and just went to bed.
I would take everything out of my apartment and probably throw a bunch of stuff away and like sterilize everything and then like not move back in until everything was replaced and repaired.
And get renter's insurance.
Yes. Renter's insurance, definitely.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
In fact, my brother-in-law, Zach, he's one of our service techs. He was just telling me this morning that he got called out for another similar one. However, the downstairs, they were gone for the summer. But the upstairs was using the rest of their plumbing. And they didn't realize that every time they would flush their toilet, every time they use any of their sinks, it would come out downstairs through the bathtub, the toilet, and the sink.
Oh my!
Because water will go to the lowest spot.
Right.
And it was clogged going out. So it was coming out every one of their drains.
All summer long.
Oh.
And the air conditioner had stopped working.
Oh,
they had left the air conditioner on. But maybe the humidity or something. And it's, Chico summers are 100 degrees.
Yeah.
And
most of the summer. Yeah.
It was just cooking in there and filling up.
Lovely.
He said the door jamb worked great. So when they got there, they got originally they got called out for an odor investigation.
Yeah, absolutely.
They got there, they opened the door, and it just came
pouring
out.
It just
had
filled.
Up.
Yeah, it had filled up. It had filled up quite a ways in this apartment, and because the tenant had just left for the summertime, they left their stuff there.
Yeah, because they still
all their stuff there.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know if they had a renter's insurance or not, but he said they actually had a longboard, and the way longboards are, they're like plywood, wood, and it had like the layers had just peeled off from this Yeah, he said that the inside of the unit had like developed its own weather system because the humidity had come down and to start raining down again, and it would just heat up, and then
that's crazy.
Yeah, and everything was just brown and green and gray. And
that's.
Oh,
Hopefully you went in hazmat style.
Yeah, I didn't go. He did.
Yeah, like hazmat it up.
Oh my
to go
gosh!
into
You just
like that.
like never know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like I wouldn't know if my toilet started backing up tomorrow. I'd be like, okay, I know to call my property manager and whatever. But being gone and not just happening to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if I lived upstairs and I was able to flush and things like that without knowing that the clog was,
and then it just
the
starts
pipe was
smelling bad
clogged,
one day.
and it's just going into the downstairs unit.
Living upstairs is the smart thing to do.
Yes.
If you're going to rent a house.
Yeah.
That's true.
Upstairs.
Gosh,
Yeah.
That's craziness.
Yeah.
So I've always wondered, do you find crazy things in people's pipes? Like do people flush crazy things down their toilet?
Oh, yeah.
This is a good first question.
What kind of things have you pulled out of people's toilet pipes?
So just about everything. We've pulled out a chicken. Yeah, an actual chicken. Somebody, I don't know why.
Cooked chicken?
It was one of my coworkers. He didn't tell me if it was cooked or not. I was curious if it was like a live chicken,
Like
someone was just shoving down in the toilet. He said, I pulled out a chicken. Yeah.
Gosh.
We've pulled out, of course we've pulled out cell phones. Sometimes we'll call the phone and it's ringing inside the toilet.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
That's great. That's kind of awesome.
Yeah. The other day, Jesse, one of my other brother-in-laws, who's a service tech, he pulled out an action figure and he set it on the toilet. It's all posing in front of the toilet. That's on our Facebook. It's fun.
Yeah, toys. I imagine a lot of things are toys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's actually pretty enjoyable to get called out. And if we're running a sewer camera down the drain, we'll run a camera down. We'll find what the blockage is, and I kind of like to see the dad go inside, grab his son, bring him out, and say, "Did you flush this?" And it's like Batman, right in there. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
so
no,
like you've found most things.
We found most things.
Most things that'll fit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we got called out to the police department one time because they were concerned. They said that somebody had managed to sneak a gun in
to the police department,
to the jail.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my
So we had to run a camera down. We didn't find anything, so they were suspicious.
So that wasn't the way
Got
they did it.
Yeah,
maybe, but
it might have just continued down the drain. I don't know, but we were looking.
Oh, like you were looking for it
for the pieces of the gun that flushed down there.
Wow.
Yeah. And like I mentioned to you earlier, is that we've been called out for a murder investigation, but I'm not going to talk about.
You can't talk about that one. Oh my gosh, we'll have to get that one out of you later.
A murder investigation.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of touch everyone's lives with your job.
It's need based, so everybody we see a whole variety of. We don't have a specific demographic because it's plumbing. It's bare necessities. So you see the full spectrum of humanity. It's one of the reasons why it's enjoyable to me. Get to see everybody, meet everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And they're at their most humble. So normally we do a news segment after we have our guest, and it's just Elijah and I, but we thought maybe we'd ask you some questions, kind of educate us on a couple things, and we have some things in mind. And this would be our news segment.
And so welcome to the news.
Yes.
Today's episode is, of course, about plumbing.
Everybody's poop.
Yes. And, I am not experienced enough to really know what to ask. Like, I'm sure there's tons of interesting things.
Oh, sure.
And I'll let Kim ask questions.
All right.
But I'm down to hear anything you have to teach.
Yeah. So my two main questions that I think we cover in our news segment is, what kinds of things are you looking for in a plumbing inspection that you do for a real estate transaction? And then the other question was, like, as realtors, we help people buy and sell houses of all ages. And so then there's like the plumbing under the house or wherever it is sometimes galvanized steel, and then I can't even name all the types, and so that would be the other thing. Could you educate us on the types of plumbing that have been used over the years and pros and cons?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So there's a variety of different pipes out there. One of the worst is called Orangeburg pipe. Some of your audience may have heard that before. It's a rolled tar paper. They started using it during World War II, and they didn't want to use cast iron
because it's like because it's just older, or is it just not a good material to use?
It's horrible. You can step on it, and it'll just.
Oh, that's like no rigidity.
No.
Oh
yeah, it's just like paper. Just rolled tar paper, and roots will just destroy it. You can, when we run our camera through, we'll see that pipe just goes oval on the inside.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so it'll. There's a lot of that still out there, and so if you're looking to buy a house, that will most likely give you trouble no matter what. Orangeburg pipe.
Orangeburg.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there like a time period where they were using it specifically, like the 50s maybe?
I think late 40s and then 50s and maybe even in the 60s and 70s, but I'm not sure about that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I imagine it was a cheap way to connect to sewer.
Super cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, you're putting paper as your
sometimes
material.
it'll just disintegrate. We get called out to do like a leach line investigation. It'll just be disintegrated. There's no pipe left.
Just nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's one of the worst types of pipes. And then from there, in the older days, they would use there's clay and concrete, terracotta. These types of pipes they would put in 3 or 4 foot sections and mortar the seams together.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when we run our camera through, we're seeing roots grow in every one of those seams because the mortar starts to deteriorate.
Yeah.
Pipe stronger than the connection points.
So just go right in.
Yeah, because that's like sand based, right? Mortar.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it doesn't last.
Yeah.
So, we can rehab those pipes. There's also cast iron. Those will be underneath the houses. They didn't generally run cast iron outside. Most of the time it's on the inside of the house. So if we're going to do, if you're looking to purchase a house, I would recommend sewer camera inspection if it's an older house. Usually the newer ones, they have ABS pipe, which is industry standard nowadays, and it's good stuff.
Okay.
What's it made out of? Like a plastic?
It's a plastic. I don't remember what ABS stands for, but it's like a PVC. It's a black plastic.
Okay.
In other states, they use PVC.
Was it common for some eras, like 70s, for galvanized steel for under the house?
Yeah. Generally, they would use that for kitchen drain lines.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, a lot of times you think steel is like the hardest type of pipe that you can use.
Yeah.
And they'll use that for water lines and for smaller drain lines, bathtubs and kitchen sinks.
Okay.
But the thing with steel, and it's very strange, but kitchen grease will just eat it right up over time. So we'll pull out a pipe, and it's just like the bottom of that pipe is just gone.
Yeah. I think I've seen pictures of that before.
Yeah.
Because the grease just ate it away chemically.
Yeah, chemically.
Yeah.
And I imagine it takes a while, but I mean, depends on how much grease you got.
Right.
Wow.
We'll get called out for, say, a clogged kitchen drain.
Yeah.
We run our snake through and, okay, it's all draining. And then we'll leave the faucet on. We go out to our car to get a tool, and we hear water running. It's underneath the house, and it's just pouring under there. And we shine a light, and it's your entire kitchen drain pipe has been it's just gone. So now it's draining underneath the house.
Okay.
Yeah. So
how does someone catch a problem like that? Like they hear the same sound you did at some point, or
so unless you do a plumbing inspection, you might send somebody under the house to take a look at the pipes, the condition.
Okay.
And most of the time it would be some sort of leak investigation, or they smell an odor.
Okay.
It's coming up through around the vents around the house. And you'll just hear. Hear that water pouring out underneath.
Or we have one of you guys come out.
You have one of us.
Look at everything.
You don't want to do that. You just want to have somebody.
We realtors don't climb under houses.
Not generally.
So we'll just we'll inspect the older houses, the older pipes, and for if you're asking us to come out and do an actual sewer camera investigation for one of these houses, what we'll do is we'll run a camera through and look at the main sewer line as it goes out to either the city sewer or the septic tank. And oftentimes, if it's an older house, we'll be finding there's tree roots or a structural issue or a belly in the pipe. There's different types of issues that we can find out there, or a child's toy that's stuck in there,
or diapers. A whole wad of diapers.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All kinds of things. flushable wipes that get
Yeah.
stuck in there. Yeah.
Not particularly.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
not flushable.
Yeah, I tell people, please keep flushing those. We love them.
Yes.
That's how you do some more work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Very good.
yeah, a lot of roots and a lot of different problems that we'll find in plumbing. And you can also, if you're in your inspection period for your house, you can use that, I would assume, to help negotiate the price of the house if you're finding some issues with it.
Absolutely. Okay.
Very good. Well, thank you for bringing these fantastic little plunger pens. They're actually like rubber.
They stick to windows.
Yeah.
They're nice. I didn't have one before today.
So
Oh, yeah.
if you want your own, you need to call Thrifty Rooter and ask them to send you a pen.
Or
Most
ask
of our
him
guys-
to come inspect your plumbing. And
There
then
you
he'll
go.
give you-
We usually carry them with us, so just go ahead and ask us and we'll give you one.
Yeah.
They're fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming, teaching
Thank you
us,
very
telling
much.
us
Yeah.
a couple horror stories.
I know. Woo.
Absolutely.
I know, but it's nice to hear.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to hear the worst case scenario before you panic about your scenario.
Yeah. Well, thanks and bye, everybody. See you on the next episode.
Oh yeah.
Bye.